everyone, my name is Paula Isabel A. Buena, and today I'll do my Science PBA activity about mixtures and their characteristics, different kinds of mixtures. So let's start. The materials that we're going to be using are sugar, salt, powdered milk, oil, soil, beakers, 140 ml of water, and 2 spoons and a stirring rod. The first step is I have to prepare the 3 glasses of jars or beakers. So I already prepared it now. And for the second step is I have to fill each container with 140 ml of water. Then I have to measure 1 teaspoon of salt, powdered milk, and sugar. And I have to stir it gently, and I have to observe about the phases and what type of mixture it is. For the water and the sugar, it is a solution. The sugar is the solute and the water is the solvent. So it's a solution because when I put the sugar inside the water, it dissolved. So that's why it's a solution. And for the milk, it's a colloid. It's because even though it's mixed properly like the sugar and water, there are still some little particles that are left under the milk which we cannot see. So that's why it's a colloid. And for the oil and water, it is a suspension because the oil is not really mixed with the water. It's because the oil is less denser than the water. So now we're back on another Science PBA activity. So now I'm going to be forming solutions. So we're going to observe about how our miscible and immiscible solutions are formed. So let's start. The materials that we'll be needing are 2 glass beakers, 200 ml of water, alcohol, and oil. So the first step is I have to prepare 2 glass jars or beakers, and I'm done with that. Now for the second step is I have to fill both of the containers with 100 ml of water. So for the third step, I have to add 50 ml of alcohol in the water and 50 ml of cooking oil in another container with water. Then I have to stir both of them. So based on my observation, for the water and alcohol, it's an miscible solution. It's a miscible solution because both water and alcohol have the same density and the alcohol dissolved in the water. But for the water and oil on the other hand, they had both different densities. And the oil did not really dissolve like the alcohol in the water. So it's an immiscible solution. We have another activity in science about observing characteristic of suspension. So now we're going to analyze how does a suspension differ from a solution. So the materials that we'll be needing are 2 glass beakers, water, blue food coloring, oil, the steering rod. So the first step is I have to fill the beaker with water, and then after that I have to add a few drops of food coloring. So for the second step is I have to pour 3 tablespoons of food coloring along with the 3 tablespoons of oil into the plastic bottle. So for the next step is I have to seal the bottle, and then after that I have to shake it vigorously. Based on my observation, when I first mixed the food coloring with water, it was a solution. But after that, when I mixed the water with the oil, it was a suspension. So the difference between a solution and a suspension is, for the solution, the two substances, which first is the solute and the solvent, will mix together. But for the suspension, it doesn't do like that, because when, for example, oil, gravel, sand are mixed into water, they don't really mix with water, not like solution. So why? Because it separates is because for oil it has less density than water, and for sand and gravel they have more density than water. They'll only stay suspended if left untouched. So now for the last activity, for the mixtures and characteristic, which is the observing of characteristics of colloids. So the things that we're going to use are steering rod, liquid milk, some water, a beaker, and a laser pointer. So the first step is I have to fill the beaker with water. I have to add 50 ml of liquid milk, then I have to stir thoroughly. So the next step is I have to turn off the lights in the room, and I have to make sure it's dark enough in order to see the beaker's possible results. So based on my observation, when I turned off the light, put the laser, and I was steering it, I saw that it was foggy and there were a few small particles in it. And that is called a colloid. A colloid is like a mixture of solution and suspension. It's a combination of suspension and solution because, for example, powder milk, when you mix it with water, it becomes foggy and clear, right? And then after that, there are suspension because you could really see clearly that there are some particles from the milk that haven't been really dissolved. So that is called a colloid. Bye!